Welcome back to the YouTube channel, The Overflow Life. I met a young guy recently and we got talking, and from the discussion that I had with him, it showed that he has made efforts many times to pull out of where he is, but he just found out that he couldn't get out of it. It's just like a circle. And sometimes you hear people say things of near miss syndrome, and you have to fast and pray and run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not good to fast and pray. Of course, I'm a person of faith. I believe in that. I know it's necessary for you to do that. Fasting, it has its own advantage, so I wouldn't say you shouldn't fast, but do it with understanding. That's the thing. So this guy that I met with and I was talking with, he was just going round in circle, not able to make any appreciable progress. But sitting with him and talking with him, walking through things, I just found out that his challenge is self-sabotage. That's all. Self-sabotage. That's just what the problem is. And once we're able to identify what the problem is, getting out of it was no problem at all, and we had to start working on it. So we're beginning a series, and it's self-sabotage. We're going to look at what it is. What is self-sabotage? What are the causes of self-sabotage? Some of the causes, we can't talk about them all. As much as possible, we'll talk about few, what they are, what they look like, how do they present itself, its symptoms, how do we get out of it, how do we move past it. This and many more we're going to look at in the next few weeks. It's not something we can do in one episode, but we're going to take them in bits as much as possible and unpack them. So don't go away. Stay with me. We're going to have fun doing this. All right. So see you shortly. Welcome back. Yes. Like I said, we're going to look into sabotage and the behavior, what it means. We'll look at the root causes of sabotage and many more. We'll just take them bit by bit. We're not in a hurry. We'll just take them in bits as much as we can. For every episode, as much as we can, we'll just try to unpack. So if you hear the word self-sabotage, you may wonder, what does that mean? It simply refers to behavior. It refers to thoughts or actions that one engages in, and it hinders the person's progress. It hinders the person's well-being. That is, it just hinders the person's ability to achieve their goals. If they have goals they've set for themselves, they are not able to achieve them because of the behavior, thoughts, and things they are doing themselves. That's why it is self-sabotage. These actions are often, they are counterproductive, like the young guy I met. And most time they result in negative behavior, and so they prevent progress, appreciable progress of any sort. So common forms of self-sabotage, they could be, you can see it in maybe procrastination, harsh self-criticism, perfectionism. You may wonder, how can that be? Yes, it can be. As we go on, you will see it. You can see that perfectionism, you have avoidance of challenges, and one even engaging in destructive habits such as substance abuse, even spending, excessive spending can be. Yeah, ironically, it can be when you're spending so much and you're harming yourself. You don't have the money you're spending, you have the money you're spending. You're not just checking, you're not working with budget and all. It can be self-sabotaging. So it may even be in relationship. You can sabotage your own relationship, and therefore you have you miss the opportunity to even do something better for yourself. And sometimes when people sabotage relationship, is out of fear of failure or fear of success. All these and many more we're going to see as we go on. in it. Or let's just look at the causes of self-sabotage. Where does it come from? How does it even begin? Some causes of self-sabotage is low self-esteem. When you have someone that just feel like, I'm not good enough, I can't be in this place, and you just see yourself less. You're not thinking of yourself in the light of anything that could be, that could gain glory or be in anything. Then you know that self-sabotage. Another thing could be fear of change or success. It can cause self-sabotage. You're just afraid. You don't want to try. I don't want to fail. But also it can be someone who is afraid of success. They don't want to be too successful. Like, if I'm successful, I will backslide from faith. I will not be myself anymore. I will lose. You have that. Another thing, it can be past traumas. For someone who has gone through a lot, if you've gone through a lot and you've not been able to deal with the emotions, you've not healed from the emotions, it can be a problem, can hold you back, and you'll not be able to walk past it, and it hinders progress. Then another thing can be negative belief or self-talk. You just believe that in my family, nobody does that. We can't. It's not in our lineage. It's not in our lineage. No, we can't achieve that. That could hold you down. And lack of self-awareness, that you're not even aware that is a problem. You don't even see yourself. You don't have the information. You don't know what to do. And lastly, patterns that are learned from childhood experience. That's from when you were small. Growing up, in your growing up days, certain things that were done, you just believe that is what it should be, and it can become self-sabotage. These are some of the root causes. So you have something: low self-esteem, fear of change or success. You have past trauma, negative belief or self-talk, lack of self-awareness, patterns that are learned from childhood when one is growing up. So we can say that self-sabotage, what exactly is that? What is it? It's not anything big. It's just simply when we consciously or unconsciously block ourselves from reaching our goal. That's sabotage. You're just blocking yourself. Whether it's through procrastination, like I've said, whether it's doubting your ability, even setting unrealistic expectation for yourself, whatever it is that stands in your way in you trying to get what you want, is self-sabotage. As long as you're the one that is doing it, it's self-sabotaging. So we're going to look into a lot of this, because self-sabotage is just a situation of you're trying to press on, you're trying to increase speed in your car, and at the same time your foot is on the brake. So you're doing two things: you're making efforts to go forward, and then you're coming backward. You're making effort to go, so you just take like 6 steps forward, and then maybe you take 5 backwards, then you take another 6 forward, and you take another back forward. So it sounds very counterintuitive, but that's what it is. It's counterproductive in its way. So how can one stop this? But the truth is that self-sabotage is often driven by deep-rooted fears. That's just the main thing. It's deep-rooted fear. Fear of failure. It could be fear of success, fear of failure, unworthiness, whatever it is. You just hold on to that and refuse to see past it. So you have to break out of them. Overcoming self-sabotage involves a lot of things, and one of them, to start with, is for you to identify what the cause is. If you identify the reason for it, then you can begin to develop self-awareness. You can begin to navigate negative believe, try to create realistic goals without you being a perfectionist, because that could be a problem for you. You just want everything to be perfect. This should be here, don't move it out of that place. If it's out of there, you have to spend time to make sure the thing remains in that place and in it. So in essence, we can say that self-sabotage, it will undermine your success, it will affect your happiness, it will affect your well-being, because of the actions or the belief or things that you're doing. You don't have the best interest, your best interest and goal at heart, because the efforts and things you're doing will always jeopardize what you're doing. So in that case, you can make all the plans, you want to do everything, but when it gets there, because of the underlying fear that is there, you just hold yourself back and you won't go ahead to do it. So you may now begin to ask, how do I know if I'm self-sabotaging myself? How do I tell I'm not in that space? It's easy to tell because of the symptoms it displays. Like the young guy that I worked with, when I started explaining to him what it means, what self-sabotage is and how they are presenting itself, he just started saying, I can see that now, I can see that now. And that's it. So it's creating awareness. So the first thing you should do is identify what the underlying cause is. So from there, you develop awareness. You begin to challenge the belief. You begin to challenge what it is. You set realistic goals for yourself, and then you begin to work towards it. So let's look at the symptoms of it. And the very first one will be avoiding responsibilities or challenges. You just don't want to take any challenge up. You don't want to take any responsibility because of fear of failure. Remember what I said, fear of failure or success will hold you back. You don't want to get into it. Another one too is engaging in destructive habits like substance abuse. That's in it. There was a young guy I was talking with, and I was telling him that self-sabotage steps in a situation where everybody around you is ready to support you to achieve what you want, but you are the one not cooperating with it. So that means it's self-sabotage. If everyone is ready to help, this is what you want, this is what you need, let's do this. It's just like you have a student in the house with you, and everyone in the family now found out that she has exams, please, household chores, she shouldn't be involved in it, let's take that off her so she has time to read. And then she goes into the study for her to read, and she's watching movies, or she's on social media, she's doing anything but reading. That is self-sabotaging. So the cooperation is there from every member of the family to support her to achieve her goal, which is to prepare for her exam and have good success. But on her own, she's self-sabotaging her effort because instead of reading, she's there on social media or doing some other things. So you have the avoidance of responsibilities or challenge, engaging in destructive habits, can be addiction or anything. Then perfectionism or procrastination. Perfectionism, procrastination, just being so struck on with everything being, the line must be straight. You laid the bed, it has to be. You tidy the place, it just has to be. Those are all things that draw you back because it will take time for you to do that. So procrastination, you just say, I'll get it done. I don't know, I'm not ready for that now. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. That is a symptom of self-sabotage. And lastly, we're just looking at this for lastly, a fear driven by self-criticism. When you just feel like I am not good enough, I cannot do it. This thing, there's no way I can achieve that much. I've tried several times, I'm not able to do it, so I've given up. I'm not doing again. I'm not trying again. You just know that is self-sabotage. Okay, we'll continue with that. That's where we'll stop on this episode, and then we'll look at some others. See you in the next video. Bye.